If you haven't been able to tell yet, a large theme of this How to Make Everything channel is specialization. Or more accurately, an exploration of what the world would look like without it. If you had to perform every job yourself to make everything you use, you're not necessarily going to be good at much of it. Something I've learned firsthand from the over 60 different skills I've dabbled in so far. But the reason this channel is a novelty, and not just a normal fact of life for everyone, is due to the concept of money, which helps facilitate trade and allows specialization, where you only need to learn a few specific skills instead of every skill. Money is an abstract but crucial concept, so in this series I'm going to be dissecting the origins of money and its technical creation as it's evolved through history, from extracting precious metals, minting coins, to printing paper money, and beyond. But for this first video, I'm going to focus on the birth of the concept of money and learning how to extract the element that even today has become synonymous with money: gold. So why did this specific metal get used for money? And where does the concept of money even come from? Well, let's imagine a world without money. The only way to exchange goods, outside of gifts and theft, would be through barter. However, bartering requires a double coincidence: that you and your trading partner both have access to something to trade with, and a need for what the other person has at the same specific time. This makes trade difficult, and is probably why there isn't evidence of a culture that existed with only a bartering system. Instead, the development of money helped bridge this. Money is something that can be used as a medium of exchange, and as such can be used to store value, allowing value to be saved up to be spent later, or lent out to be paid back later as debt. In fact, the first form of money, according to archaeological evidence, was in the form of credit and debt. Prior to the advent of money, practices like farming were fairly difficult, since they usually generally require investment up front, with a payout much later. Through situations like that, credit was eventually developed as a way to lend out needed assets for the initial planting that could be repaid after the eventual harvest. Some of the earliest written records we have are of tablets tracking these debts. One method of tracking such debt was a tally stick. Simply made, grooves of various sizes would be carved into it, keeping track of the amount being lent. Once the loan was made, the stick was then sometimes split down the middle. The larger half was given to the lender, who would now hold the stock, while the shorter stick was given to the debtor. The unique grains of wood could then be used to prove the debt and the amount, preventing any tampering. It's from this that we get the origin of phrases like stockholder and receiving the short end of the stick. Evidence of tally sticks date back as far as possibly over 20,000 years ago, and were used to track debt and were considered a form of currency up to the 19th and 20th centuries. However, for more immediate trade, a form of money called commodity money would often develop. When a double coincidence for direct trade couldn't be made, an intermediary item would sometimes be traded for, if such item was known to be valuable enough to be easily traded to almost anyone later, effectively using the commodity to store value. In this context, various items evolved to be used as a form of currency. In fact, I've made several of them in the past. From salt, grain, alcohol, cacao beans, animal hides, to livestock. Each have been used in one culture or another as a commodity money, because each held such an intrinsic value on their own. However, as trade expanded, there were some difficulties. Not every culture found the same items as intrinsically valuable, some items were hard to transport, and certain items would rot or decay over time. Ultimately, it was found metals were ideal for this role, and chief among them being gold. It has intrinsic usefulness, it can cross cultures, it doesn't rot or deteriorate, and can be used at any time. It's relatively scarce and can be easily divided into smaller amounts without losing any value. And with its high value to weight, it's easy to transport. For these reasons, gold ultimately became king among commodity monies. So, how does one extract gold themselves? Well, while I was in Utah, I met up with geologist and gold panning hobbyist Alan.
Generally, there's two types of mining, and there's really more than that, but for simplicity's sake, there's lode mining, and that's your hard rock, your underground, the old traditional pickaxe, shovel go into the tunnel. And then there's placer mining. The gold or the mineral has been liberated from the host rock, the quartz vein, and is just there to pick up. In this case, it's in a creek. We're standing next to Little Severe Creek. We're sluicing today, and that's just a little box with riffles in it. We'll shovel in the top, and water flow will wash the material over the riffles, and gold being heavy will get stuck behind those riffles and stay put. You dump it into a pan and just wash it down. And the advantage is we can do 100 pans worth of material and then just pan it once.
How much gold do you normally get?
A good day around here is probably a gram. The best day, partner and I pulled out 12 grams in 4 hours in a crack that we opened, including a 2-gram nugget and 2 1-gram nuggets. That was a good day.
Yeah. So you're not getting rich off of this then?
Typically I can cover my gasoline.
Okay.
So it's a hobby that pays for itself.
That's good.
And then every now and then you hit the lottery and bring home a 1-inch nugget.
Yeah.
I've done that once.
How do you find a good area to pan for gold?
The easiest way to find a place to pan for gold is to look where it's been found in the past. This area, Little Severe Creek in the Tusher Mountains, was mined in the 1880s and 90s. And so this is an area that was already known for gold. Panning is kind of a multi-purpose tool. It's great for prospecting, and it's great for finishing, and it's great for having fun. If you want to find any real quantity of dirt, you need more equipment, because you need to increase the volume.
Selecting a low spot in the stream, Alan set us up to start collecting some gold. But first, we need to dig downward, below the surface rocks, to get to the soil that contains the gold.
Go as deep as we can and then start moving upstream. And we should hit some clay within a foot or so. And there'll be gold on top of the clay, in the clay, and if we can hit bedrock, there'll be gold there too.
So the gold is mixed in with the clay and soil here?
Yep, and we're not down to the good sticky clay yet. I think as we move kind of up and in, we'll hit it. I think we're getting down to the bottom of the rocks. You want to try digging?
Sure.
The idea is you work down to bedrock and then you work upstream. And it's easy to dig once you're underneath it to lift it out.
Okay.
Knock the rocks through just gently and just keep this front clear so it can flow through cleanly. Specific gravity of gold is 19, I think 19.2. Just for reference, lead is a 12. So gold's almost twice as heavy as lead.
Oh, really?
The only metal you get naturally that's heavier than gold is platinum at 22. The gold will be the first thing to slide off.
Oh.
It's so heavy it will move in water more quickly than anything else. Now you can kind of see him in here dancing.
Yeah.
See him jumping around. That's a good sign. You're getting a good vortex created. Because the idea behind a sluice is water comes over the top of that riffle, and as it passes, it swirls. They call it Bernoulli's principle, same thing that makes airplanes fly. It's the flow of any substance over something else, and an irregular flow will create low pressure zones. And that will pick up the lighter stuff and move it.
Yeah.
But the heavier stuff like gold, it can't quite get enough to lift it, so it'll tumble it. And then you create a barrier and a low pressure zone where it can hide from that flow, and then the current can't tumble it anymore. And then when we have a flash flood, everything else blows through, and that gold will literally just bounce and tumble across the bottom. It's so heavy it's hard to pick up. I like these sluices because they're really easy to use and clean. I can do it in a pan. Just wash it out. It's a special carpet, so it's got grooves same direction as the riffles. This is called miner's moss. It's just a loose sponge, plastic mesh. The idea is if gold gets down in there, it gets trapped. The current can't really get to it. Then I always pan into a catch pan, because I pan it really fast. I don't worry about losing a little bit. But on concentrates, a little bit can be a lot. There is gold in here. I don't know if you can see it. So that's gold there, there, there.
How much is that worth?
Not very much, a few cents. The gold here runs about 18 karat, 76%. Most of the rest, about 22% silver.
So what exactly is meant by carats? The word itself traces back to the Greek word for the carob seed, which had been used as a measure of weight. Gold is rarely found purely by itself, so carat is a measure of the amount of gold present out of 24 parts. So 24 karat gold is 100% gold, or more accurately, at least 99.95% pure. 18 karat gold would be 75% gold, and so forth, with the remaining percent being composed of other alloys such as copper or silver.
The material in this creek is about 18 karat, 76% range.
Keep digging?
Sure. All right, so we just finished cleaning out the sluice. And now we're going to teach you how to pan. We'll pan the material down to see if there's any gold in it.
Okay.
The first thing we do is we bring everything flat.
Yeah.
Just kind of swirl it around. You can go side to side, shake it, but you can see the sand grains dancing around.
Yeah.
That allows the material to stratify, and the heavier stuff will sink to the bottom and the lighter stuff will work to the top. Then we'll work it to the front. And a lot of times in an old historic placer deposit like this one, you'll find lead, sinkers, metal scraps. Get everything on the bottom, tip it forward, and bring everything kind of to the front of the pan here underneath these riffles, because we want to pan against the riffles.
Okay.
Usually then I'll actually pour the water off, and that lets everything compact. Because when you actually pan, we want to just wash it off the top one layer at a time without disturbing the material. I just do little circles forward and back and just wash the top layer off. You can also rock it. Does the same thing. Grab your hand up here. Easy to just rock it side by side. So you want to go slow and careful, but the objective is to get the material out of the pan. So it's okay if you're washing stuff out. Let that water lap over it and then pull it out of the water. And as you pull it out of the water, it just takes the top layer off. Another thing we don't want to do is go too steep. Probably about here. And you push this right down in the water, give you more room. Okay, now here's the wing nut from my sluice. I always throw it in here. It actually helps me know if I'm washing it correctly. If I wash it out, I washed gold out. Probably enough. If you start getting down to the heavies, black sand, you can wash gold out again. Then we just take it, get a little bit of water in here, and just swirl it. And you'll wash stuff off the riffles, and then away from that edge. That's your gold right there. And then there's gold there, there. That's a piece of gold there, I think. Little flake.
And you said if a speck of gold is big enough to see, it's worth about a cent?
Oh, you probably got a couple bucks in there.
Nice.
When I say big enough to see, I mean this pinpoint.
Yeah, okay.
And we're not going to get rich.
Yeah.
If you spend the day here, you'll probably get some bigger pieces, some chunkier stuff. If you want to see if they can find any more, there's a few more in there. And then I was going to pan this one down just to see how much we lost. There's a couple bucks worth of gold here. It's not a lot, but for an hour or two of digging, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
If you were to stay here all day, you could probably get a gram, maybe even 2 grams of gold if you can do a lot of volume.
Yeah.
2 grams doesn't seem like a lot, but it's $30, $40 a gram, so 60, 80 bucks. Certainly buy your gas to get here.
Yeah.
And it's more than most people have made throughout recorded history for a day's work.
Wow.
So in perspective, it's actually pretty good money. All right, so I put the gold in a vial, cleaned it up a little bit. That's what we got for the day.
That's all of it?
Disappointing, huh?
Wow, so this is a few dollars worth of gold, huh?
It is, it's not very much.
Barely see it. that was a lot of work just to get this little amount.
So the end result of 3.5 hours of labor was something like maybe 50 milligrams of gold. At minimum wage, that means it cost me a little over $25 to produce that gold, which is worth maybe $2. But as Alan was saying, once you get the motion down and can do it for a full day, you can potentially pull in 1 to 2 grams a day. So for an 8-hour minimum wage day, it costs you $58 in labor hours to produce some gold potentially worth between $45 and $90. Obviously, different regions can yield higher amounts, and then larger scaled up versions can be more lucrative to produce the over 3,000 metric tons of gold that's currently extracted each year. In my next video in the series on money, I'm going to extract the next most common metal used as currency, silver, and hopefully be able to extract enough of it with the help of Cody's lab to move into the next historical evolution of money, standardized coins.
So if anybody's interested in doing gold panning themselves, you actually have a book about how to do it?
I do. A guide to gold panning in Utah. It's been about 15 years in the making. And the one thing everyone always asks for is a map in Utah of where you can go pan for gold for the whole state. It has maps, photos, histories of the area, directions on how to get there, and then what to look for when you actually get to the area. I got a copy. I autographed it to you.
All right.
Hope you can use it and have some fun with it.
All right. Thanks.
You bet.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and check out other content we have covering a wide variety of topics. Also, if you've enjoyed these series, consider supporting us on Patreon. We are largely a fan-funded channel and depend on the support of our viewers in order to keep our series going. Thanks for watching.